everyone, my name is Chloe, and today I'm here to do the Midyear Book Freakout Tag. So I think I've done this every year. If so, I'll link them down below. But I love this tag just as a way of checking in for your midyear reading and just kind of reflecting on the year as a whole. And so we're going to do this tag. However, some of the some of the questions I just could not think of answers for. So we're going to add on the mid-year calm down tag because that's one that I've seen going around just this last year or two. And I really like some of the questions that it asks and just how to calm down and let it be what it is. So we're going to have a double tag day. So I'm going to answer the questions for the mid-year book freakout tag first. And then there might be a little pause and then we'll do the mid-year calm down tag. So let's just get into it. So the first question is the hardest and it is your favorite book so far of 2025. So I don't know. Honestly, looking back, I've had 2 5 stars and both of them are nonfiction. So let's just talk about those. First is Peace, Hope and Healing for the Anxious Mom's Heart by Becky Thompson. Kind of self-explanatory, but I just really felt seen in this, and anxiety was portrayed really well, and there were very practical steps, and I loved it. Then we have Teaching from Rest by Sarah Mackenzie. So again, this is a homeschool nonfiction about just not getting stuck in comparison and the rat race, and just teaching with the focus on relationships. I loved it and want to read everything by Sarah Mackenzie. But then I have one 4.5 star that still sticks out to me for fiction reads. And so I'm going to say Secrets of a Charmed Life by Susan Meisner. So how shocked am I that my favorite fiction book, I think, of the year so far is a historical fiction. That is mind-boggling to me, but Susan Meisner is one of my favorites. And so this is about 2 sisters who they are 15 and 7 at the time of the book, and their mom is wanting to send them to the English countryside because it is right around the time of the Blitz, and they don't want to go. The older one does not want to go because she's about at this brink of a career. But they do anyway, and they get separated, and it's them trying to find their way back to each other, and it was so good, so heartbreaking, but so good. Then number 2 is Best Sequel You've Read So Far in 2025. So I read the entirety, I think, of the Seasons series by Beverly LaHaye and Terry Blackstock. And this was just a hard-hitting kind of Christian fiction drama, community drama kind of thing. And each book follows a different member in the community. So you don't necessarily have to read them in order, but you definitely see characters from the others. So I really enjoyed the entire thing and kind of binged it. So there's that. And you'll notice I am putting in pictures of all the books because my office is destroyed right now with Deca TBR-a-thon, piles of possibilities for both me, both of my kids, all of that kind of stuff. And I'm trying to film this while the baby is still sleeping. And so I can't go up and get some of the books that are in my bookcases up there because she's in my room. So we're just going to insert pictures. I hope that's okay. Then number 3, new release you haven't read yet but want to. So I just recently did a 5-star prediction video with Sarah from Sarah's Nightstand and Lindsay from Lindsay's Little Library, and on that were The Favorites by Lane Fargo, which is a new release, and then we have The Frozen River, and that is a new release. My other one was not a new release, but so those 2 are high on my list. But really, I mean, all of them. I would also say The Murder by Cheesecake by Rachel Ekstrom Courage, and The Love Haters by Catherine Center, and The Girls Who Grew Big by Layla Motley. All are really high up on my list, so I'm hoping I can get them all done here soon. Then number 4, most anticipated release for the second half of the year. So I couldn't think of one in particular that I'm super excited for, but you guys know I'm not the one that has to be the first to get things. I don't really do NetGalley because I don't care if I read them once they're a little bit backlist, but every month I do anticipated reads, and I genuinely want to read all of those. So all of them. I will link the playlist down below. There's so many. Then my biggest disappointments. So I've had 12 DNFs so far this year, and I would say 2 that stick out to me as the biggest disappointments are The Friends We Keep by Jane Green, because I typically love Jane Green, and this one just wasn't it. They're awful friends, awful people. I really did not enjoy it. And then also This Summer Will Be Different by Carly Fortune. I hate to say it, but Carly Fortune was on the fence for me of either because I really liked her first book and then didn't really like anything else, and this one was kind of the keeper or not, and I didn't like it. I was really disappointed. I really wanted to because so many other people do, but it just wasn't for me. Then biggest surprise, kind of on the flip side of that, is The Orphan's Tale by Pam Jenoff, because this was a historical fiction book about a circus. I hate circuses. I don't generally like adore historical fiction, and this one I loved. And it's about two women during World War II in a circus. One is a Jewish woman, one is not, and they are working together in like a mentor-mentee relationship, and there's a baby forced to give up and a rescued baby, and it was just so good. Then I also would say The Rehearsals by Annette Christie. This has such low ratings on Goodreads that I thought, well, I'm going to try it, and I'm going to knock it out and either just unhaul it or do something with it, and I loved it. And then also I did a video of books that I think I'll hate that are on my bookshelf, and then I read them, and one of those was The Devil Wears Scrubs by Frida McFadden. I actually loved it. Then The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. Actually loved it. So great surprises there. Then favorite new author, debut or new to you. So I'm not sure on the whole debut thing. I need to put a box on my spreadsheet that says who is debut, but I know new to me was Chevy Stevens. I read my first Chevy Stevens this year. Tori Whitaker, who wrote a book that I'm going to talk about here in a little bit. Becky Thompson, who I can't remember if I started last year or not, but I've binged everything she's read or written, and I loved all of those. Then newest fictional crush. I don't get those. I don't know why. Maybe it's because I'm long married and stuff. But any cinnamon roll hero I love. And same with new favorite character. I cannot think of anybody in specific. I love women's fiction books where you get to know the characters and I can feel like a piece of myself in each of them. But I can't think of one that particularly stands out. Then a book that made you cry, Millicent Glenn's Last Wish by Tori Whitaker. So this one is painful. It is about a woman who's like in her 90s, and her daughter is somewhat estranged, but her daughter and her granddaughter are coming to the town where she lives, and her goal basically before she dies is for her daughter to know her. And so we go back to the 40s and 50s and watch Millicent Glenn's life, and she had a rough life, and it was heartbreaking and enraging and everything. Then a book that made you happy, I would say Smells Like Tween Spirit by Lori Gilman. So this is a part of the Class Mom series, and it just brings me joy. They're not great books. They're set in Kansas City, and they're not even super accurate to Kansas City because Lori Gilman is not from Kansas City, and yet they bring me so much joy. And it was the only one I had not read in the series, and so it brought me a lot of joy. Then most beautiful book you've bought so far this year or received. And I feel like I could pick so many. But I'm going to say The Summer We Ran by Audrey Ingram, just because the like boldness of these colors is gorgeous. I love this cover. And then last is, let's see, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? Well, I have 378. So how much time do you got? So all of the ones on my shelf. So the baby just woke up. So I'm going to go get her, and then we'll do the mid-year calm down tag. Okay, we're back. So let's do the mid-year calm down tag. So thankfulness, what 2025 has given me thus far. So I didn't think about really any of these like ahead of time, but gosh, 2025 has just been awesome. It's been some healing. We had a baby in October of 2024, and so my experience with her is so different than it was with our third, who was a medical needs baby. She was in the NICU forever. It was just such a traumatic experience, and this has kind of been a redemptive newborn stage, and it's just been one where the days are long and the years are so short, and I'm really realizing how short the years are, and just time with my kids, time with the community. You guys, I have had so many great relationships, and I feel like 2025 has just been a year of like feeling like we're getting our feet back under us, because 2022 was awful, and it's just been kind of slowly rebuilding since, and I feel like 2025 is the year that I'm feeling a little bit like I got my feet back from under me. I feel like it's been a big year for faith. It's been just a big year, and it's been a great year so far. Relaxation, the most relaxing book. So gosh, I have read, especially lately, I have read a lot of books that are just easy, summery women's fiction. I made a video that was books with summer in the title, and a lot of them are just kind of women's fiction, whether hard hitting or not. And that's my happy spot. And so I feel like that has been really relaxing. One that I think of specifically is It's Better This Way by Debbie McComber. I remember I read that coming out of a slump, and that really helped. And so I guess that it's just relaxing to be kind of mind off, just hang out with some women, enjoy the summer and the very unrealistic lives they lead. Then 3, Hydration, a book that I needed. So I'm going to say Defiant Joy, which is Taking Hold of Hope, Beauty, and Life in a Hurting World by Stacey Eldridge. So this is a book I read with Krista from Books and Jams as a part of her Christian nonfiction read-alongs. And I feel so like I felt so convicted and so hope-filled while reading that. And the discussion with her was so great. And you guys in the live show, and it was just so great. It was so great. And it's all about choosing joy, even when life is hard and things are like, you can totally look at the negative or you can look at the positive, and choosing joy is the way to go. Then we have Nourishment, a book that energized me. So I'm going to say Never Knowing by Chevy Stevens, because this is a book that I read physically, and it was for a book haul revisit, I think, but it was one of those books that like I intentionally set my kids up with activities all on the floor so everybody was safe. I was in the middle reading my book, had no clue what was going on around me. And I very rarely get that way. With an anxiety brain, with small children, I'm normally so engaged in everything that was going on. But I just tuned them out. And like my husband was around, so they were extra safe. But like I got lost in that book, and it was so good, and I loved it. Like, and so it really energized me to physically read more. Then Familiarity, an author I've returned to. So I read this year Where We Belong by Hoda Kotb. And I like, as a 20-something, I was a Hoda Kotb fangirl. Like if you don't know who she is, she hosts the 4th hour of the Today Show. And she was with Jenna Bush Hager. She was with Kathy Lee Gifford. She's been with a variety of co-hosts, and she just recently retired. But I loved her. And when my mom was going through cancer treatments, I listened to a lot of her books. But then I listened to Where We Belong this year, and I didn't love it, but I love her voice. I love her personality. I love who she seems to be, and so I loved returning to her. Then 6, Healthy Risk, outside of my comfort zone read or new to me author. So I just recently read The Leftover Woman and by Jean Kwok. So that's a new to me author, and it's also a book that has been sitting on my shelf for almost 2 years because I was just nervous about it, that I was a little out of my comfort zone, and it was more in my comfort zone than I thought. But I don't know. I've been trying to like kind of sit in my comfort zone this year just because my reading has been less than great. But this year hasn't been that great of a year for books. And so I don't know what I'm doing. But I will say that one's a little out of my comfort zone. The Orphan's Tale by Pam Jenoff, which I've already talked about, was out of my comfort zone, and some good, some bad. I like kind of tiptoeing out, but I also really just want to love what I read. And I don't love taking risks right now, just because I'm so like chronically on the verge of a slump. Then we have Reflection, changes in my reading taste. So, I will say that this year, I think I've gotten more into Christian fiction and less into thrillers, just because my anxiety has been high. Like, it's been high for a while, and this year I've had some health concerns that and health is my biggest kind of anxiety trigger. And so I've had some health concerns personally, and I really just need like wholesome content coming in. So I think this year my reading tastes have changed, and then I'm reading a little more Christian fiction and a little less thrillers, a little less things that may keep me up at night. Because normally I love books that like stress me out, but in a good way. And this year I haven't been reading as much of those. So otherwise, I mean, I think they're pretty much the same. Then number 8, Detox, a book or habit that I'm leaving behind. So no book specifically. I still won't say I'm not reading anything. A habit that I'm thinking about leaving behind is book of the month. I'm thinking I have 3 credits left. And so I may be done with that here soon. I love the thrill of picking things out, but I found myself skipping books or skipping a lot, and just it's still $11-12 for a book, and that's more than I like to pay for a book, especially when I'm not reading them all immediately. So I could wait and get it in paperback for cheaper or find it used a couple months later. So book of the month is something I'm thinking about being done with. And just online book shopping in general. We are blessed to have so many used bookstores that are pretty cheap. Whether it be like the Friends of the Library thing, and our county has started doing weekly library book sales. I haven't been to one, but that, and then there's Savers, there's Half Price Books, there's everything right here, and going really brings me a lot of joy. And so I'm thinking I might be done with online book shopping. So we'll see. I'm not like on an anti-book buying ban or anything like, or a book buying ban, I guess. I'm not doing anything like that, but I think I'm about done. Then positivity, anticipated books or events. So like I said, I do my anticipated reads, and so that, and then book events. I don't know. I'm so bad at keeping up with them. Most of them in my area, so I'm in Kansas City, and most of them are on the Missouri side, and so it's kind of a jaunt. And they're typically late at night, or late at night, being 7:30. But bedtime around here is very mama dependent, and so getting to go, I just don't do a lot of events right now. I really wish I could, and I really, 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 really want to figure out some sort of meetup with some of either my patrons or other creators, and collabs that I'm doing. Like, they bring me so much joy. Here in the middle of Deca TBR-a-thon, I'm loving getting to talk to Becca and you guys in sprints and all of that as much as possible. So those are what I'm looking forward to. I don't think that's what the question's really asking, but I'm looking forward to a lot of YouTube events. Then last is looking ahead, personal plans and goals. So, I don't know. I do plan to do a video here soon, hopefully this month, about where I'm at with the goals that I set at the beginning of the year, because I kind of set those goals and then forget them. And I know there were a couple that I was really excited about doing bookish wise, and I have not made a lot of headway. So stay tuned for that video, I guess. But yeah, I don't have any new goals except to get my physical TBR down to 300, which is going to be a feat at this point. So we'll see if it's even possible. But there's my Midyear Freakout, Midyear Calm Down tags. And I didn't, like I said, I didn't have great answers for a lot of them, but I still wanted to kind of check in mid-year and see what are your guys' answers. How are things going for you? Hopefully a little better than they are for me reading wise. Life wise, it's been a lot of great. Reading wise, there's been some good stuff, but overall, not my best year. So let me know how your year is going, what your answers to these tags will be. I will leave the questions down below, as well as any original creators if I can find them. And that's it. So thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.